Once upon a time, in a quaint little town nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, there stood a magnificent old clock tower. Its tall, sturdy structure had witnessed countless seasons come and go. But the true marvel of the tower was its big golden clock, whose chimes had marked the rhythm of life in the town for hundreds of years. It chimed merrily, announcing the start of a new day, marking the passage of time with its timeless melody. One morning, however, the townspeople awoke to an eerie silence. As they stepped outside, they noticed with growing alarm that the clock hands were frozen, and the bell that usually heralded the dawn had fallen silent. A hush fell over the town. It was as if the very heart of their community had stopped beating. In the midst of this unsettling stillness, a young boy named Rayan stirred from his sleep. Unlike the others, he didn't just rise and yawn and stretch. No, Rayan had a different kind of fire in his belly. When he heard the news about the stopped clock, a spark ignited within him. It wasn't just any old clock that had gone silent. It was the heart of their town. If the clock couldn't tick, the whole town would lose its rhythm. He had to fix it. He jumped out of bed and raced to the clock tower, and there perched on one of the windowsills was his best friend, a little squirrel named Nibbles, squeaking in excitement. "Let's find out what happened," chirped Nibbles. So began the adventure of Rayan and Nibbles. They raced up the tower and burst through the door. Inside, Rayan gasped. Behind the giant gears, he saw a small, almost invisible door. Pushing it open, they found themselves on a dark and winding staircase that spiraled downwards. Holding his lantern high, Rayan descended the stairs with Nibbles scampering ahead of him. At the bottom, the staircase opened into a secret underground room. Glowing gears spun lazily in the corners, and a fine layer of magical dust covered everything. Then out of the shadows, an old man with bright eyes and a long silver beard stepped forward. "I am the Clockmaker," he said softly. "The clock has stopped because its heart gear has been stolen. Without it, the clock cannot function, and the town will lose its heartbeat." He explained that only the purest of hearts could enter the clock and replace the gear. "Who took it?" asked Rayan. The Clockmaker shook his head. "A mischievous raven named Kroka. He lives deep in the Whisperwood. He wanted to keep time frozen, so no one would grow older, and he would remain the youngest raven in the forest." Nibbles puffed out his cheeks bravely. "Don't worry, Mr. Clockmaker. We'll bring it back." Their journey led them deep into the Whisperwood, where gnarled trees whispered secrets to the wind. Following Kroka's erratic flight path, they soon found themselves at the foot of the tallest tree in the forest. Perched on a sturdy branch sat the mischievous raven with the golden heart gear clutched in his beak. Now Rayan was quick-witted and calm. While Nibbles chattered loudly to distract the raven, Rayan gathered fallen branches and twigs, fashioning a small ladder. When Kroka wasn't paying attention, Rayan climbed up. Reaching the branch where the raven sat, he greeted the bird warmly. "Hello, Kroka. Why do you want to freeze time?" he asked. The raven looked at him with startled eyes. Then in a small voice, he confessed, "I was afraid of losing my friends as time passed. They would grow older and forget about me, and I would be all alone." Rayan understood. With a gentle smile, he said, "But time is what gives us new memories. Without it, no one can grow, and no one can dream." His words struck a chord within Kroka, and the raven's grip on the heart gear loosened. Slowly, he handed it back to Rayan, his eyes filled with gratitude. With the heart gear secured, Rayan and Nibbles hurried back to the clock tower. Placing the gear inside, Rayan gave it a final polish with his sleeve. And with a loud tick-tock, the golden hands began to move again. The bell rang out, echoing across the town. As the townspeople gathered around the clock, celebrating its return, the Clockmaker placed a hand on Rayan's shoulder. "You have saved our town, young hero," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You have shown kindness and understanding to a creature of darkness, helping him to see the light." Even Kroka, who had flown back with a newfound sense of purpose, was welcomed into the celebration. The raven, perched on the edge of the crowd, cawed merrily, realizing that time, far from being his enemy, was a precious gift to be cherished. From that day on, Rayan was known throughout the land as the boy who fixed time. his tale served as a reminder for everyone in the town and beyond, that no matter how dark things might seem, a little kindness and understanding could illuminate even the darkest of hearts. As for the old clock tower, its bell continued to chime, marking the passage of time with a melody as timeless as the values of friendship, courage, and compassion that young Rayan embodied.